Good morning and welcome everybody to the Health Sciences virtual visit. We are super glad to have you with us this morning and are excited to share all the neat things that are going on in our health sciences areas down in the Owens building on campus. So thanks for joining us. We're going to dive on in here. So just to give you an overview of where this session is heading, we're going to start with a few introductions and a welcome, just to have an idea of who's on the call today. We're going to then dive into program information. So we are going to visit respiratory therapy, surgical technology, emergency medical science, nursing, and learn more about some of our continuing education programs and opportunities. There will be some admissions information at the end. So if you're wondering what your next steps are, we're going to show that information as well. There's opportunity at the end for question and answers. However, this session is for you. So it is our hope that you will ask questions along the way. You are welcome to unmute yourself at any point and ask a question out loud. You can also utilize the chat box if you're more comfortable answering or asking questions that way. We will be monitoring that, so we will ask questions. If you have them in the chat box, we'll ask them out loud so that everybody can hear the information. As a reminder, we talked about the session being recorded for folks who aren't here today, and then closed captioning is available on Zoom. So if you would like to open up the live transcript, that will display text on your screen, and then you can turn that off if you don't want to see the text. So just know that that is available to you. So before we introduce who we have in our session today, we're going to start with a brief welcome from Maggie Murray, and she is our Director of Student Life. So she wanted to share just a brief word with you all. So I'm going to show you a little clip that she recorded for us.
What's happening, everybody? Are y'all so excited about your day today with the RCC? You should be. Let me just tell you that RCC is awesome, best community college in the land, and I got another thing to say. You're going to learn a ton about different programs today or the program that you're interested in, but college is not all about being in the classroom. It's also being about around campus, meeting different people, getting involved in clubs or sports. So at RCC, we have a lot going on campus. So go to class, and then we got awesome places for you to hang out. We also have some awesome programs for you to be a part of and 11 clubs for you to be a part of. So get excited about your program today, yes, but also you get excited about just being an Eagle and being a part of RCC's campus. So enjoy your time today. My name is Maggie Murray. I'm the Director of Student Life and Athletics, and we can't wait to have you on campus.
Awesome. Thanks, Maggie. So like she said, we're going to learn a lot about programs today, but college is also about meeting new people. So Maggie Murray in particular does a fantastic job of facilitating these opportunities for students on campus. Thanks, Maggie. Excellent. So just some brief introductions, and we're going to actually introduce everybody once we turn it over to their program area. But my name is Laura Jennings. I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment Services at RCC. Derek Satterfield is the Director of Enrollment Services. He's down in the Owens building helping with these presentations today, so you might see him popping up. Our Dean, Vicki Chitwood, is also on the call. And then from the nursing department, we have two folks. We have Anita Manning, the director, and Assistant Professor Rebecca Gurley. They're going to be showing some simulations down with their students in the nursing lab, which is going to be really neat. We have our program director for respiratory therapy, Miss Pruitt, program director for surgical technology, Miss Talley, program director for EMS, Jason Collins, and Miss Thomas, our program coordinator for health sciences, is also on. Fabulous. So I'll let them introduce themselves when we get to their sections, but we're going to just dive on into respiratory therapy. So in order to introduce respiratory therapy, we have a brief little teaser video that we're going to show you that highlights a little bit about the program and does a good job of showing you the space down in the Owens building where these students learn.
we are in the respiratory therapy lab. I love everything about this program. Our program is very fortunate. We get to go to 13 different hospitals for clinical sites. So we see everything from teeny tiny premature babies on up to geriatric patients. We do have, there's a bachelor's program at UNC Charlotte now that we work in conjunction with, as far as it's a 2+2 degree. So you have to come through an associate's degree program like ours to go into that program. And from there, you can do management with your, it's a bachelor's of science in respiratory therapy. You can do management or education. We can work in emergency rooms all the time. That can be your assignment as a therapist. So you have the adrenaline junkies, the people who want to see the codes coming in, or the more critical patients. We also have people who do really well working with just babies. So you can specialize in that after you graduate and only work in a NICU, a neonatal intensive care unit. Respiratory therapists are the head of the bed. So if we have a patient who's critical or they're coding and need to be intubated, placed on life support, we are the ones at the head of the bed. We intubate the patient and put them on the ventilator, manage the ventilator for the time the patient's on there. And we're there also there if the patient is able to come off. It's called extubation. We're there for all of that from beginning to end.
Fabulous. So now we're going to turn it over to Ms. Pruitt so she can share with you a little bit more about respiratory therapy. And she is down in that lab space as well. So you're going to get to see that here.
And we have some patients that we work with. We do simulation in this lab a lot. And this is where the students will get their hands-on training before they start going to clinical. So this is a very important place for us. And it's we have a great lab. We have great equipment. And we're just excited to get to work with some new students coming up. Anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to email me. Laura, do you put our contact information with this?
We can. Okay. I don't have it on the slides just yet. Okay. Right. But yeah. If you want to put it in the chat box too, sure. That way you can have your email. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yay. Thank you. Perfect. And do you guys have class today, Ms. Pruitt? What's your schedule like for your classes this semester?
This semester, we have first years are here on Mondays, and then they have clinical on Tuesday and Thursday. And then our second year group has class on Tuesday, and they have clinical on Mondays and Wednesdays. So we don't have anybody in the building on Wednesday this semester.
Very cool. And when your students leave here, where's the, what type of jobs do they have? Where do they most commonly work?
Normally they work in adult ICU areas. In any local hospital, they can work in a NICU, which is a neonatal intensive care unit. They can go into pulmonary rehab areas, which is more of an outpatient setting. There are lots of different opportunities. There's also pulmonary function testing labs they can work in. It's an outpatient procedure. So just lots of different places. Generally, our students, when they graduate, they want to go into those ICU areas and have a little more high adrenaline areas to start with. So.
That's cool. What's the work schedule like once you're working as a respiratory therapist?
It's generally 12 hours, 7A to 7P or 7P to 7A, and 3 shifts a week. So 36 hours. And lots of places will let you schedule your 3 days together. So you have a 4-day little vacay in between your weeks. And depending on where you are, whether it's weekends, holidays, different things like that.
Cool. And there's a question in the chat box about if it's a 2-year or 4-year degree. It is a 2-year associate degree here.
2-year associate degree, but we have UNC Charlotte now has, it's called a 2+2 program. So that you would get your 2-year degree from here and you can automatically transfer there, and it's completely online. And you finish 2 years with them to have your bachelor's of science in respiratory therapy.
Awesome. Then there's another question in the chat box. How many students are accepted into the program?
Our maximum, our capacity is 28 students.
Awesome. Each year, right?
Each year, each cohort. So as you start, like coming in this fall of 21, we could take 28.
Awesome. Great. Any other questions for respiratory therapy? We can always circle back if something pops in there. It's awesome. Thanks, Ms. Pruitt.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and put my contact information in the chat box too.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. So let's jump on to our next program. We're going to move on into Surg Tech. So our PowerPoint will catch up with us. Come on. There we go. So we have Crystal Talley here. It looks like she's in the operating room suites down there in Owens. Very cool. So we're going to watch a teaser for Surg Tech, and then Ms. Talley will share a little bit more about her program. Here we go.
One of the great things about surgical technology is that it's kind of like a secret field. Everyone knows there's a doctor and a nurse, but a lot of times they don't think about the surgical technologists. Job placement is awesome. We have a 100% job placement after the program. We have a great lab facility here, so you get a really hands-on experience here. You can see we've got the OR behind us that we use here to practice with, which lends well for them starting clinical. This is one of the only full ORs, because see, we have a lab. This is our lab section here. So they practice in here up until they are ready to step into the OR. It gets you in the hospital within a year, and you can also continue on to get an associate's degree if you'd like. It transfers over very well.
Awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen so we can turn over to Miss Tally. Hi.
Hello. So I'm Miss Tally. I am the program director for surgical technology here at the college. Kind of give you a quick view behind me. I'm actually sitting in the operating room that we use to practice before students go to clinical rotation. We have a year program that offers a diploma, and you can also continue for an associate's degree. Our students, they are here 4 to 5 days a week, so we are a full-time program. And in January, or every fall, we accept 20 students, and then in January, they actually step foot into the clinical sites 3 days a week. I was trying to think of anything else that I could say. The video pretty much covered it. We are definitely a great hidden kind of field. If you don't know about surgical technology, we're basically the doctor's second pair of hands in surgery. So we provide a sterile environment for each patient and assist the doctor during surgery. Most of our graduates go on to work mostly at hospitals or day surgery centers. We do have some that, end up changing and going into organ procurement or working as a vet tech and things like that. But for the most part, majority of our graduates work in a hospital or a day surgery center. Any questions that I can answer for you?
What's the schedule like for graduates? Like once they get their first job, what are they typically working?
So, we have our basic shifts like first, second, third. So, 7 to 3 first shift, 3 to 11 second shift, and then 11 to 7 for third shift. But we also do have some surg techs that do 12-hour shifts, basically 3 days a week. So 7A to 7P. So, there's different schedules. It doesn't have to be, 5 8s. It can be 4 10s or 3 12s, kind of things like that.
Cool. Are there any questions for Miss Tally, either out loud or in the chat box?
No questions?
No. They might have them later. Well, we could circle back. Good deal. Thanks, Miss Tally. Awesome.
Thank you. I'll put my information in the chat box also.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. So we're going to share and we're going to jump now over to EMS. And we've got Jason Collins on the line. I see the truck behind him, so that's going to be fun to talk to him in just a minute. And we have a quick video for his area right here.
It's a very rewarding career. I will tell you, when you make that person's day better and they thank you.
Sorry, y'all. Let me hit it again. I was trying to make sure I wasn't getting feedback for you. YouTube, let's go. We'll start you all over again, Jason. Come on, computer. There we go.
It's a very rewarding career. I will tell you, when you make that person's day better and they thank you before you leave the hospital room, it's one of the best feelings in the world. The student spends a lot of time in this, and it's usually the coolest thing about the program. They get to work in the back of an ambulance, get to actually drive around in the ambulance. This tiny space is where you're doing all these skills at roughly 60 to 70 miles an hour. So yeah, this is the same stretcher as you'll find in the local EMS agencies. We try to get it just as close as our locals so they're used to the equipment before they get out there. But yeah, this is where all the magic happens. This is where lives are saved. We try to have as much equipment in here as possible that they'll see on an actual ambulance as well. My favorite part is seeing them grow while they go through class. You know, at the first part of class, it's usually, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. This is a lot of information in a short amount of time. And then one day you'll see it just click. There's a light bulb that everything will click. They'll run through it and they'll be like, that was a whole lot easier than I thought it was.
Awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to turn it over to Mr. Collins.
Hey, yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm out in the ambulance bay. There's a lot of loud equipment right outside, so I'm hoping it doesn't drown me out too much. But yeah, so I'm Jason Collins, the program director for the EMS program here. And yes, as Laura pointed out behind me, we are in one of our lab spaces, which is usually the best part, the most fun of this program is the ambulance and getting to work in the back of it. But I know EMS is a very growing career. There's a lot of opportunities, and there's a new opportunity, it seems like every day for EMTs and paramedics. But usually when people think of paramedics, they think you call 911, it's the ones that show up, they take you to the hospital, and that's all. That's the end of it. You don't really get to see what goes on in between, and there's a lot of stuff that these paramedics can do, and that involves, I mean, just like these other programs, there's a mixture of what each program can do. You think of paramedics, you think of ambulance, but there are more opportunities out there. For example, you can work in a hospital, a doctor's office. I know I have some paramedic graduates that are doing conscious sedation in dentist offices. There's different opportunities out there for paramedics and EMTs now. As far as our program, we do have the Con Ed side and our new exciting curriculum program starting this fall. So now you can get an associate's degree in emergency medical science and become a paramedic at Rockingham Community College. We've been trying to do this for a long time. First time we've ever done it here. Hopefully we'll get a good turnout for that. But we do have some Con Ed programs, short-term programs to get your EMT. It takes about 4 months. It's a night class every other Saturday. You can automatically get a job right after, either working in an ambulance or in a hospital, and continue your studies if it's something that you enjoy doing. The new degree program this fall, it'll take 5 semesters, just like most of the other programs here, and you'll come out with an associate's degree and a paramedic certification, and just sets the bar higher for you when you go get a job. Anything I'm missing, Laura?
No, I'm super glad that you mentioned the new program for the fall. I think that's a really great option, especially for students who are graduating high school this year, so that you can earn your associate degree and along the way become a paramedic. In the first semester of that program, you'll get your EMT, correct? So you can, work as an EMT early and then still build on that to earn your paramedic by the end of the program.
And another exciting thing, along with that program, we do have the high school pathways as well, where as a junior and senior in high school, you can actually start taking your EMT. You can already knock out your EMT course. You can take, I think it's Bio 168, the first anatomy course, and get some of those credits knocked out. So it'll take you even a shorter time to get out.
That's awesome. I think you've covered it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Jason, I have a question. I'm just down the hall from you here in one of the nursing labs. If you are a young person in high school, would you highly recommend they get their associate degree based on where regulations are going?
Yeah, so EMS, like I said, is ever changing, and they are pushing for an associate's degree requirement for paramedic. As right now, you don't have to have an associate's degree to become a paramedic, but they are pushing that, and probably, I'd say within the next few years, it will be a requirement. So yes, I highly encourage these students coming out of high school to go ahead and knock out the associate's degree, have it done. You don't have to worry about it.
Great question. Yeah, super smart. Cool. Any other questions for?
I'd like to ask the question.
Go for it, Ms. Chitwood.
Does the 2-year degree transfer, Jason?
It does, yes. So there are not as many bachelor's degree options as some of the other programs, but we do have one locally in North Carolina that you can transfer this degree to. It's Western Carolina University. They do have a bachelor's degree in emergency medical science that it will transfer to. It's kind of like when Ms. Pruitt was talking about the 2+2, it's the same situation with Western.
Cool.
Great question, yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, if there are any additional questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. We can always circle back to EMS if anybody has any questions there. I'm just going to show my screen real quick before we tag in our nursing department. But we're going to visit them next, and they actually have a cool simulation that they're going to show. They're in the Owens building right now, our simulated hospital, with their students. At RCC, we have 3 different nursing programs. There's an associate degree nursing or ADN program. We have a practical nursing program, PN. And then for students who earn their PN and they're an LPN, there's a program to take them to the associate degree. So a LPN to ADN program. So I think Miss Gurley is down there with her class. So we're going to turn it over to them. I can see Derek is down there right now. Perfect. Thanks, Derek.
All right. This is one of the rooms in our simulation lab. We actually have this simulated baby. You can hear it crying. They are trying to assess and listen to this baby's heart and lungs while this baby is crying, just to make it more realistic. This is a state-of-the-art incubator, which simulates a real one that they will encounter in the hospital. And you can see that we have monitors, so similar to what they would have in the hospital. So this is just one of the aspects of our simulation lab that we have. And we are going to go, we actually have 2 more simulations going on right now. So Ms. Manning is going to talk to you for a moment, and then we're going to switch to another simulation.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention, and Laura already mentioned it, we have 3 nursing programs. Now, as you coming out of high school, you would want to do the practical nursing or the associate degree nursing. But if you wanted to do the LPN program, then you could come back and finish your RN degree in 2 semesters. So that's the good thing about our programs. We have a lot of variety, so we can usually meet everyone's needs. And I am the director of the practical nursing and associate degree nursing program. So I'm the one that you could contact if you have questions. And before we end, I'll put my information in the chat box. So we'll go to the next room and look at the pediatric patient now.
And I'll just chime in while they're moving. If you don't have your screen on speaker view, that will make the screen bigger for what Ms. Manning's showing you now. So you can change it in the top right corner where it says view.
Assessing a child with asthma. I don't know that you could pick it up if I tried to turn the volume up, but they can actually hear the child wheezing. They have oxygen on the child. Our oxygen on the wall actually simulates real oxygen. We have a little pad I don't have in my hand, but they can look and they can see how well the child is doing. Is it getting enough oxygen? So again, we try to simulate as closely as possible situations that they will really that they would really see in the hospital setting. So this group they're actually going to go get medicines out of a cart and give this child a breathing treatment in just a few minutes. So we will move to a medical surgical simulation. Well,
We have our adult patient over here. This man does a lot of different things. He breathes, he talks. We have, we can see the screen that tells us what his vital signs look like. We can do IV work on him. And so this is just a safe space for students to take care of patients in a realistic environment, so that if something happens, they're not harming a real patient. So they learn here, and then we take them to the clinical setting where they take care of real patients. So they've had a lot of practice in the simulation area prior to going to the hospital. And then we also will have lab time and class time also. So our nursing programs are pretty rigorous, and it takes a huge time commitment to go to class, go to lab, go to clinical each semester, so that we are preparing you to be nurses to go out into the real world and take care of real people. I guess now we can open it up for questions if you have any.
Ms. Manning,
Yes.
what are your pre-requirements in order to come into your associate's degree program?
Well, our prerequisites are actually the same for all of our programs. Chemistry and anatomy have to be completed prior to entry. So anatomy 1 and 2, chemistry 131 or higher. And we recommend you finish English 111 so you're ready to come in. So really concentrate on the sciences if you want to go into nursing.
Is a CNA required?
CNA is required for the associate degree program only. And then if you go do your LPN and come back, you have to keep an active LPN license throughout the program to do the LPN to ADN option.
Thank you.
Are there other questions for the nursing department? And I do have my eye on the chat box if you want to ask a question there. I know we had quite a few students in the chat initially who were interested in going into nursing. So I'm glad they got to see the simulations.
Yes,
Here's
and I will say you don't just work in the hospital when you get done here. There's so many opportunities. Doctors' offices, nursing homes, hospitals. So our graduates really have great opportunities to go anywhere they want to go to work.
That's great, because as a follow-up, there was a question in the chat about where do LPNs work?
Oh, yes. Now, a lot of them work in doctors' offices, nursing homes, but there's more and more going to work in hospitals now. The hospitals have seen that with a shortage, that LPNs are very beneficial, and they're hiring more and more into the hospital. So they're having a lot of opportunities too.
Awesome. And as a follow-up, there's another chat question. Do you have a section in pediatrics in your curriculum?
We actually do not have a specific section. We do a maternity type class for our associate degree, but otherwise everything else is built in. So we go along the entire lifespan throughout the programs.
Another question, what's the difference between an LPN and an RN?
Well, an LPN is, that's a shorter program, so 3 semesters, and they are not able to do everything that an RN can do. The RN is responsible for the complete care of the patient, planning care, education, evaluation, that kind of thing. The LPN cannot be responsible for all of that, but they do participate in all of that. So they assess patients, they do focused assessments, participate in the care plan, that kind of thing. So they're overseen by the RN.
Excellent. And is there a pathway for nursing for high school students?
There is a pathway. It does not guarantee that you're going to get into nursing, but there is a pathway to follow. I don't have that information with me right now, but there is a pathway. And then when you come here to apply for nursing, you would be in an associate in general education for nursing program, and that would help you with getting all your prerequisites and general education courses done. And of course, we would help you with what you need to.
Yeah, but you can get started with some of your prereqs early on, and that's a great option. Cool.
Yes.
And Laura, to chime in on the pathway a little bit, it's a great opportunity for our students. In high school, you're able to, if you have the want, you can actually take anatomy, physiology part 1 and 2 while in high school, chemistry, our English, and the psychology, which is 5 of the 8 prerequisite courses. So you can knock out a lot of your prerequisites while in high school if you choose to do the pathway. So it's a great opportunity.
Excellent. And a question in the chat box, how many students do you accept into the nursing program?
It varies from year to year, but typically 30 to 40 in each program.
Great. Any other questions for the nursing department? You guys had some great ones in the chat. Fabulous. Well, thank you all for sharing your simulations today. That is neat to see.
Thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. We'll keep an eye on the chat. So if there are any additional questions, we'll make sure to get those answered for y'all today. Great. Thank you. Perfect. So I'm going to share screen again. And we're going to talk a little bit now about some of the continuing education or shorter term programs that we have available at RCC. There were a couple questions in the chat box about CNA or nurse aide. That is a prerequisite in order to apply to the associate degree nursing or the RN program. So that would be a course that you could take at RCC. Sometimes students are able to take that in high school, which is great, but we offer that at the college in case you need it here. There are a lot of other neat options. And before we turn over to Ms. Thomas, our program coordinator for health sciences, we're going to watch a brief video, which features our dean, Vicki Chitwood, talking about some of these programs as a little teaser. Great.
I just love this hospital. I love this building. I just think we have a lot to offer here. It is a simulated hospital. The students actually get to put their hands on and do simulation on mannequins and learn before they actually go to clinical. Phlebotomy, medical assisting, nurse aide, pharmacy tech, central sterile processing, cardiovascular technician. These students can come through these classes and then go sit for a certification and go immediately into the workforce. And there are wonderful opportunities in healthcare. It's just a beautiful campus. I love the fact that I don't have to get in the car and drive to another building. I walk to another building. We have had other colleges visit our building to just say like, wow, this is not what we have. It changed my life tremendously. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now today without healthcare. This is a great place to start your education, finish your education, and come back and do some more education.
Awesome. So we're going to turn it over to Ms. Thomas, and she'll talk a little bit about some of our continuing education programs. Ms. Chitwood mentioned in the video, like phlebotomy, medical assisting. These are shorter term programs, so students can take those in just a few months. So Ms. Thomas, would you share a little bit about some of those programs with us?
Hey, thanks, Laura. Hey, I'm Sherry Thomas. I'm the health science coordinator here at RCC. Right now, I teach medical assisting. I also teach cardiovascular technology. We just recently started the medical assisting program. Typically, most of your medical assistants, they work in medical offices, hospital clinics. When I say clinics, they're also like a doctor's office, but they associate it with the hospital. Typically their hours are 8 to 5. Sometimes they can be longer. Some offices that we have clinicals with are open till 7 o'clock at night. So you can work from 8 to 7, 4 days a week. And it is a shorter program. Once you are finished with the program, then you'll sit for a national exam and become certified as a medical assistant. You also do a 40-hour clinical rotation with that program. With phlebotomy, you learn how to draw blood and work in a laboratory. We do have clinicals inside of a laboratory. Those hours for clinicals for phlebotomy are 100 hours. So that's equal to like 2.5 weeks that you will do at a laboratory. Phlebotomists typically go to work in a laboratory, and they do sit for a board exam as well when you're finished the class. Cardiovascular, it is used inside the hospitals to watch telemetry monitors. They monitor rhythms for patients that are in cardiac units. They also can work in pulmonologist and cardiologist office to do EKGs and Holter monitors as well. And that program also leads into a certification. And most of those hours, other than phlebotomy can work 3 shifts, first, second, or third shift, depending. Sometimes they can work 12 hours. Back to cardio, they also can work those 12-hour shifts and 3 shifts. Any questions? I'm sorry, I'm having computer difficulties today.
Sherry, could you tell us a little bit about the pharmacy technology program?
Oh yeah, pharmacy tech. We also have that here as well. I tend to keep forgetting about that program. That's a 16-week course. Once you satisfy that course, you can typically work in a pharmacy within the hospital or in one of our local pharmacists as a technician. That program also leads into a certification once you've satisfied the class. We're also looking at starting dialysis technician as well, which will lead to a certification exam as well once you satisfy that class as well. With dialysis, you'll work in a dialysis center. Those hours can vary as well. You'll work with people that have renal failure or are in renal failure. And pharmacy, typically you're working with medications. And all of those programs are short Con Ed workforce development programs. And they lead into a certification so that you can actually go into the field sooner to work.
And just to build off that, Sherry, we have a lot of students that do some of those programs initially and they're working, and then they come back and want to continue on in the healthcare field. And so we've got a lot of options for students to build like that, to continue on. And it's also a neat way to get your feet wet and to see a little bit more firsthand in the field.
Yeah, typically starting off, I will tell you, if people start off in a Con Ed, from my experience, like the medical assisting, at some point they go in to get their associate's degree in medical assisting as well. Phlebotomy, you'd have to bridge over into like a medical technologist program. You would probably start from scratch. They probably would, it depends on the college and the course, if they would let you test out on the phlebotomy part.
Laura, I'd like to add what what we could do also, what we're offering here at RCC, and we see happen quite frequently, is our students are doing what we call stackable credentials. They'll do a medical assisting, and then they'll come back and do phlebotomy. And then we actually have CNAs that are in our phlebotomy class right now. And then we'll have phlebotomists go into the cardiovascular tech program. So they're having stackable credentials. In other words, they're qualified to do 3 jobs, and the hospitals really, really want these employees. They're very, very needed.
That's correct, Vicki. Then that's what the way they use that, like, is if you're a phlebotomist Monday through Friday, but you're a CNA and they need somebody to cover the CNA shift, then they'll use you as a CNA on the weekend. Or EKG technician, monitor. You know, it just depends, whatever you're credentialed in, you have a variety of options if you're stacked in your credentialing.
Awesome. That's super smart and makes you really employable and sought after, like Ms. Sherwood said.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Are there any questions about any of these programs for Ms. Thomas? All right, well, if something pops up, we got the chat box open. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you.
Yay. Awesome. So we're just going to wrap up with a couple of things. One thing we just want to mention, we have some seniors in our group today and some other folks who might be in our GED or adult high school program. Application process for summer and fall is open. So if you have not already, it's a free application on our website. So you apply to RCC. We encourage all students to submit their FAFSA financial aid. You meet with RCC admissions, and this is an appointment that you make. It can be a phone call or Zoom, but that way you have a 30-minute block. It's devoted to your questions. We pull up your information and we get you on the track for your next and hopefully last steps for enrollment. We have orientations that we're hosting, and all the health science students go to a health science orientation. So you will see a lot of the same faces at those orientations as well. And then you start at RCC. So just wanted to show you where the application lives on our website. So there's the apply button at the top. So you click that and it will take you to 3 steps. You first apply for residency, which is a statewide system, in-state or out-of-state for tuition purposes. You complete your RCC application, which is applying to the college. And then from there, you schedule your virtual appointment. And there's a link here. If you've already applied to RCC, I know a lot of seniors have previously submitted apps, you're ready for that appointment. So you could come to this Apply Now page and go ahead and schedule a time to talk with us. Our orientations, we actually start those before you graduate. So we would want to get you in early. A lot of the health science classes are very popular. So in order to get maybe the seat or the time that you want in whatever section, we would hopefully be able to register you early by attending one of those earlier orientations. Fall at RCC, just to put a plug out, we do have on-campus classes. We will have online classes, so we're able to meet students' needs either way. We had mentioned along the way some of our career and college promise or high school pathways and enrollment opportunities. So if you are still in high school, maybe you'll be a junior or a senior next year, jump on some of these classes so that you can get a jump start on your college career. So just wanted to say that we're excited for the fall semester. And if you are applying, we hope to talk with you real soon so we can get you set up for those last steps of the process. Awesome. So before we head out, I'm going to send out a t-shirt form. Thank you for attending. You're going to get a free RCC t-shirt. But before I send that form out, are there any other questions that we can answer for you today? So we'll be on the Zoom call for a little bit if you do want to hang around and have a question. Admissions contact information is here. So if you have anything down the road that you want to ask, please reach out. I'm going to put the t-shirt form link in the chat box. So if you'll click on this, It just asks you a couple of bits of information. We're going to order the t-shirts. And so they're not available right now, but that's why we want your t-shirt size and then where you go to school. If you're at one of the public schools in Rockingham County, we're going to deliver your shirt to your school, and I'll let you know via email when they're ready so that you can pick them up from the front office. And then if you're not at one of those schools, we're going to have them available for pickup in the admissions office, and I'll email you as well to let you know when your shirt's ready for pickup. Perfect. So please don't sign out without filling out that form so we can get your t-shirt to you. Thank you all for attending today. I hope that you've learned something new. It was really neat to see the different programs and to put faces with names. I know all of them appreciated you listening and having some really great questions about our health science programs. I think you've seen we are really proud of our programs. We love our space down there in Owens. The simulated hospital is a really cool place to learn. So we hope to ultimately see you at RCC. And please let us know if you have any questions or need anything along the way. Awesome. Well, we'll hang around if you have questions, but thank you all for attending.
Can I say something?
You sure can.
I just wanted to thank everyone for attending today. We're here. Please contact any one of us for any information. We'll get you to the right person. And please come be in health science. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful career. I said I wasn't going to say anything, but I can't do it. I'm Vicki, and I just love this building. I love these programs, and I love taking care of people. So please come see us. Thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you all. I see some folks are filling out the form. Excellent. So hang around if you have questions, feel free to ask, but otherwise enjoy your Wednesday. Awesome. All right, I think we got all the questions that we're going to get. Got the link out there, so just fill it out if you haven't done so. But thank you all again. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting, but enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.